This is Aramata Djiba of Senegal, where a crackdown on anti-government protests in recent years has roiled the West African country. The 29-year-old teacher was arrested in September and taken with her 4-month-old baby to a maximum security prison in the capital, Dakar. I thought it was the end of the world. I had no hope. I cried a lot, she says. She shared a cell and a single toilet with more than 40 other women for 6 months. But Djiba was released this week under a new amnesty law after being indicted alongside 5 of her relatives on criminal charges. The family says it was politically motivated because they're supporters of the opposition. Senegal's president signed the amnesty law to ease tensions following fresh protests after he postponed the February presidential election. The vote is now due to take place on Sunday. While Djiba is happy to be free, she disapproves of the amnesty law, which she says the president introduced to save his own name. Her arrest happened after gendarmes raided Djiba's home and alleged they had found Molotov cocktails in the garden. Her 2-year-old son was also taken that day and held for about a week before being handed back to his dad, says Djiba. The family and their lawyers say they knew nothing about any weapons and that anyone could have accessed their garden. Spokespeople for the Justice Ministry and the Gendarmerie did not respond to repeated requests for comment on the case of Djiba and her relatives. They also did not respond to requests for comment on how many people have been detained and released and on criticism of the amnesty measure. Human Rights Watch said this month that while the law grants amnesty to hundreds of protesters and opposition members arrested over the last 3 years, it will also likely let security forces off the hook for excessive and sometimes deadly use of force against protesters. Amnesty International Senegal estimated that more than 700 people were released in recent weeks, even before the law was passed by Parliament on March 7th. Across Senegal, between 1,200 and 1,600 people were detained between 2021 and 2024 for alleged crimes relating to anti-government protests, according to Amnesty International and the opposition coalition. The government denies that anyone was detained for political reasons. The charges against Djiba and her relatives included criminal association in connection with a terrorist entity, attack and conspiracy against the authority of the state, participation in an insurrectional assembly, and manufacture and possession of weapons, their lawyer says. He says without the amnesty law, their trials could have dragged on for years. Senegal has faced some of its most deadly unrest in history over the past 3 years. With 19 candidates and no clear frontrunner, Sunday's election is set to be the most wide open since independence in 1960.